And we're back. Welcome back, family. You're back with Confessions with Brian T. Bethea on WJHM102jams.com. Before we go any further, just want to remember, make sure y'all download the app in case you have an Android. Download the app, the WJHM102jams.com app, if you have an Android phone, so you can download and listen to all of our shows. And just make sure that you go ahead and do that. Sorry, Apple users, we don't have the app for y'all just yet. Complain to your subscriber. Hopefully they'll get us and let us go ahead and do that. So, but anyway, we are back here with Pastor Jerry Q. Parries, who is the author of The Making of a Blended Family, as well as the pastor of Christian Family Worship Center here in Orlando, Florida.
Yes.
Thank you again, sir, again. So
Thank you.
We want to start off with the second part here with choose a partner wisely. How do we choose a partner wisely?
Wow, that's a great. In fact, that's probably one of my favorite chapters in the book, is how to choose a partner to blend your family with, or how to find the right partner to marry. One of the things you can do is that I talk about in the first chapter in choosing a partner, is that you can pay attention, take a listen or look with your eyes open. For an example, if you go out to dinner with somebody and you're dating them, you want to see how they respond to the waitress. You want to see how they tip, or you want to see. You just want to pay attention. People show you who they are by showing you how they treat others, not how they treat you.
Right.
And if you can look at how they treat the waitress, how they treat the valet person, when somebody called on the cell phone in the car, just watch and see how they answer the phone. They answer the phone, and then when they finish, they throw the phone down and say something negative.
Right.
That's the kind of person that you're marrying. If they respect their mother, look how they respect their mother. For men, if you find a man that really loves his mother and respects his mother, that's an indication. That's not a 100% proof.
Right.
But if he's nasty and dogs out his own mother, then the likelihood he's going to respect you is not going to happen. And last but not least, if someone has children, and they're not, if a man has children and he's not taking care of the children that he have right now, what make you think he's going to take care of the child that he has with you? So you can look at things that are around. Or if a woman have her kids over her mother's house, and you go pick her up, and every time you turn around, the kids are at my mother's house, then that says something about the kind of person that you're getting ready to marry. So you got to pay attention to the surroundings around you about a person, and not pay attention to how they treat you, but look at how they treat others. And how they treat others tell you the kind of person that you have.
I have heard that saying before, and specifically speaking, I happen to be watching the video. I'm not sure. Are you familiar with Dr. Boyce Watkins?
I'm not.
Okay. I follow Dr. Boyce Watkins on YouTube and Facebook and things of that nature, and he preaches a lot about, not necessarily preaches, but he has a lot with financial literacy, and as well as some other social topics and things of that nature. But he happened to talk about, he had a video that's on YouTube right now. It's about 27 minutes long, and it's in regards for women women choosing the men that they date, you know what I'm saying, in terms of women choose, basically make bad choices in men. That's why they end up with the men that they're with. Now, you have to watch the video. Don't take my word wholeheartedly specifically.
Yeah.
He's not down to all women. But he did bring up a couple of examples where there was a few, one guy that he was friends with was from a single-parent household. His father wasn't around, but his mother was a nurturer, but wasn't necessarily a disciplinarian. So whenever he did things that were wrong, she would end up nurturing him instead of scolding him when he needed to be scolded, and when the father figure wasn't around.
Right.
So I know that's and in turn, what he ended up doing, like let's say, like he brought him an example, maybe his friend he just dropped cookies all over the floor, didn't clean them up after himself or what have you, and his mother was just like, oh, that's okay or what have you, but. He would end up, hey, Mom, we're out of cookies, instead of, screaming at her like we're all out of cookies and things of that nature. And he ended up treating the woman that he was with the same way.
Yeah.
So, it's hard. What can we do? Is there anything that we can do, or, in regards to helping a person like that, or should we just steer away clearly? Because I know some people have that I can save somebody syndrome.
I'm not in helping. I'm not in the helping mode of finding a mate. When women marry men thinking that they can change them, men marry women thinking that they'll never change, and both of them are absolutely wrong. If you have to fix somebody to marry you, and when I get married to him, I'm gonna dress him up. He's good, but he don't know how to dress, so I'm gonna dress him up. I'm gonna do this, and then men, the woman is always, when you first meet them, they throwing you the best parties, best love, and you get married, and all of that, all of a sudden, I thought you would never change. No, people change, and people stay the same. They are who they are. And Maya Angelou say, when a person shows you who they are, believe them. Yep. And we have a tendency to when we're in love and we got our eyes on and we want something, we have a tendency to miss all the red flags. It's not that the red flags are not there. Mm-hmm. You have a tendency to say, don't pay attention to them. And you got to pay attention because people will show you who they are. You walk in a woman's house and go hang out with somebody, and you walk in the house and come by a surprise, and the house is not neat, then you're marrying somebody who don't clean house. You know, and you can't expect that to change. Or you get a guy that every time you turn around, he's looking for a job and don't have a job. You marry somebody that don't work. And you gotta. That when I get married to him, I'm gonna make sure he gets a job. If he ain't got a job when you marry him, then you gotta wait till he get a job. Wait till he becomes the man that you want him to be, and not marry somebody who you trying to make him into something that he's not.
Well, and now I've often questioned. This is one of the questions I've always wondered, especially when you have. Let's take Mama for instance. Mm-hmm. Great mother, of course. What I'm saying, wonderful woman, and I know, raising boys such as Ryan and Jason and Justin or what have you, she, helped to mold them and shape them in the way that they should be as responsible adults. Mm-hmm. But then, when and I'm not saying this actually happened to them, I'm just using them as an example.
Okay.
What happens is, sometimes, you have a man that had a great mother that molded them correctly to respect women, to, talk like this, act like this, or what have you, and then they run into that one woman that they want. But it's like the woman that they wants to mold them or take them like a piece of clay, and then mold them to the way that they want. Can that be a bit of an issue? Because, even if they are good men in that regard?
Well, it happens in all of our lives that one of the things that it's not how you raise a child. Mm-hmm. A lot of times it's how that child interpret that which you've raised them.
Right.
And so you can raise a child to do the right thing, but if their interpretation of that is different than what you've raised them, they could turn out to be totally different than, all of my children do things differently than I would do in some cases. They say, well, where did you guys learn that from? You've never seen me do that. You never see me. But people have a tendency to not only pick up things from you, but they pick up things from their biological parents, and they pick up things from their surroundings and social life. So I think I'm answering your question that you can have somebody that date your daughter and end up seeing your daughter accept things that you would have never accepted, and wonder how in the world are you living like this? And it is because for somewhere down the road, she believed that she wasn't worthy of that which you've taught her.
Gotcha.
And it can happen to anybody. That's life.
Okay. And I want to move on to understanding family dynamics.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you talk more about that? And I know in terms of family dynamics, I know there's issues sometimes with communication and especially especially when it comes to like holidays. Mm-hmm. I know I've had that issue myself. Learning where I'm going to spend holidays, or learning where the kids are going to spend holidays, things of that nature. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, the dynamics is what I talked about at the very beginning, is that when you come into a relationship and a person has children, the dynamics is, let's say, for instance, you meet a woman and she has 2 kids by 2 different men, okay? Now, when you look at the dynamics of that, you have to look at not only do I have to deal with her, but now I have to deal with the father of these children, because when you marry that person, you're not just marrying them, you're marrying everything that's attached to them. So not only are you marrying, you have to deal with the fathers that are connected to the child. You now have to deal with the grandmothers that are connected to the father.
Right.
You have to deal with the aunties that is connected to each child. So those are the dynamics. And same thing with the husband if he has children. You know, a man may have 4 different children by 4 different women. You got to deal with all of those dynamics and all of those. So before you get involved with the person, you need to have conversation about who are you, where you been, who you been with, in the sense of how many children you have. Are there mothers involved? Are there fathers involved? Are there grandmothers involved? Right. Because sometime at the end of the day, during Christmas time, they may take their grandchild and leave the other 2 children at the house, you know. And so that one grandson comes home with 20 gifts, and the children at home, because you can't afford it, may only have 2 gifts.
Right.
So now you got a child here that got 20 gifts, waving it in front of the kids that only have 2. You know, it gets crazy. It's the dynamics of that. So I talk about in the book understanding the dynamics and how to walk through that, knowing that a girl is a daddy. All girls are mostly daddy girls, and all boys are mama boys. So when you run into that situation, you got to look at the dynamics and know how to navigate through that.
Okay. So specifically speaking in regards to like holidays, how did you navigate, okay, this is what we're doing with the children, and you know, and also adding like their biological parents and getting them involved to make sure everything was okay, because that's what they were used to.
Wow, that's a good question. And when I first met my wife Eunice, her children's father, biological dad, was very, very involved in their lives. So every Christmas morning, he would come over to open up gifts with his children. And when he came over to open up gifts with his children, I would give them space for them to do that. This is me. I know when I say this, people, what? Yeah. No, I gave him space. I went into the other room because he had bought his children's gift. This was a tradition for his children. And I felt that his children should not have been punished because their mom and dad got a divorce, that they would lose out on having that time with their father on Christmas morning.
Right.
So they opened their gifts during Christmas morning. My children, when we all lived together, after a while, we just all start opening up gifts together, and he was there, I was there, but their dad was always welcome at that time to be a part of that. So what I did is I made room for my children's father at our table because he was important for their life.
Gotcha.
And I wanted to make sure that they did not miss out on that because of the mistake their mother and their father made. That was my decision,
right. And
it worked well for our family.
Okay.
Yeah, worked well for our family. To the point that anybody that's heard me talk, that my wife's ex-husband, when he comes to Orlando, lives in Florida, used to, when his kids was there, could stay at our house because I wanted his kids to always have their father in their lives, and I did not want. And my ex-wife could come and stay at our house at the same time. My wife, we understood the power to make sure that our children did not miss out because of our mistakes. That's maturity. That doesn't happen for everybody.
Right.
But everybody should press to make sure that they do not cause their children to miss out on their biological parents, grandmother, because the children are not at fault. You have to be, mature enough to handle that.
Now, and I'm glad you said that, because I know not a lot of people are mature enough to handle that particular part of it. So what do you think you could tell somebody who has that specific dynamic, and they're not sure, if they can let the ex-mate of their current person stay over?
Well, again, that's not for everybody.
Right.
Just so happened that my wife's my children's dad was mature. He didn't come in, he respected my home and and all of the things that come along with that. The thing that I will share is to remember that your children did not deserve to lose their father or to lose their mother.
Right.
And it is your responsibility to do everything that you can to make sure that they do not lose out on that relationship. And so if you have to eat crow and you got to, suck it up, then, and we've done that many days, do what you got to do to make it happen.
All right, and we'll be right back on WJHM 102jams.com.